and welcome to another edition of the One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Kyle. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. My foot is slowly but surely healing. For anyone unaware, yes, I broke my foot.
Oh,
And I'm like about 2.5 weeks since then.
I'm not laughing that you broke your foot. So don't worry.
Oh, yeah, you are, because I broke it stupidly. Anyway, and the funniest thing was Jim Curtin coming in and being like, "What'd you do?" in the presser. I was the only one in the presser at the open practice day. Anyway, and I'm just like, I broke my foot. It's just yeah, dumb. And anyway, but hey, the Phillies just clinched the first round
let's
bye.
go.
So yeah. So yeah, it's all good.
So yeah, we have a guest on, second time on the podcast.
Right.
He is the head Philadelphia Union writer for PSN. Welcome back to the show, Jimmy King. Jimmy, how you doing tonight?
Hey, thanks, Kyle and Jillian. Yeah, it's good to be back. I feel like in all reality, it probably wasn't that long ago that I was first on the pod, but it feels like a long time ago. And I think that's kind of a testament to like how much work the people that cover this team do and how constantly things are turning over and how much we're constantly having to reshape what we're thinking about. So yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be talking about 3 points in the bag, and there's a glimmer of hope of a playoff spot on the horizon. Going to need some help from people around the league. It looks like I was looking at the games ahead for people around the league before we hopped on, but yeah, a little glimmer of hope for us. So good to be on, and thanks for having me.
Yeah. So no, before we get started, what are we wearing today?
All right, well, since we just had the Kick Childhood Cancer game, I am wearing the Kick Childhood Cancer top that they put out, the pre-match jersey. So definitely really nice top. I know when I wore it to the game on Sunday, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, we really like that jersey," and I thought it looked good on the players. But yeah, I definitely was like, I need to purchase that. I was like, of course you need to get that, But what are you wearing, Kyle?
I'm wearing Squirrel Squad.
Oh my
I'm
god,
busting out every time we got guests on that we become good friends with, such as yourself, Jimmy. We always bust out the Squirrel Squad shirt.
that's a great shirt. I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah. So we bust out the shirt. Jimmy, you wearing anything Union related tonight?
Not Union. I had a hat on, but with
Go
the
Phils.
Phillies
Hey, hey,
clinching,
hey,
yep,
we'll take it.
I had to throw the hat on, and then I'll give a shout out to my buddy Ned's band Title Fight. They're from Scranton. They broke up a
Nice.
bunch of years ago, and everyone in the scene wishes that they would come back and play shows, and they haven't in a long time. So yeah, they're one of my favorite bands. Toured with the singer a few years ago, and yeah, I have that on. Not Union related at all, but Pennsylvania representing.
There we go.
There we go. And before we get into it, where can people find us, John?
So you can find us on anywhere you find your podcast pretty much, as well as on social media. At Twitter, we are on at TOTWAG. We are on Instagram and Facebook at The One Team We Agree On. YouTube at The One Team We Agree On. We have our website, theoneteamweagreeon.com. I actually just posted a new article there today. When you're listening to this, it'll have been yesterday. Check it out. It's about the Kick Childhood Cancer events. And also, I have a TikTok, and I should probably post something on there from the game because I have all kinds of stuff from the most recent game. But it's Jillian_Almany.
Yeah, so let's get into this. So DC United came to town, red hot. So were the Union. It was going to be going into it. Both teams were sitting at 33 points. Nationally televised game, and
Yeah,
we were there. It was a good crowd early on.
it was. And I had a number of people message me and stuff. They're like, at the beginning of the game on the FS1 broadcast, we saw you, like clear as day. We saw you on there in the stand. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
nice.
great.
So,
So,
probably me there on my crutches. Yeah.
but you were at the open practice for a little bit, and you got to sit down with Jim at the
Yeah.
beginning
Yeah. So
on Friday. So
yeah. Oh, Saturday.
yeah, Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah. Saturday, real nice day out too. Attended open practice. But I was there, in the media role really. And great crowd on hand though, fans there. And of course, they got to watch the practice happen, and then players and everyone signed. And sign stuff for them, and I went in for the presser, just me and Jim, and then, went to Zoom. But no, it was good, and probably the last time I'll be able to go down for something in person in a while because of my full-time job. But yeah, so that was a good day.
And then this tailgate was a good crowd. We talked to Dave for a little bit afterwards. Saw Matt Ralph. Shout out to Matt.
Yeah,
Had a good
first
conversation with him.
first Sons have been like real tailgate in a while, so
Good crowd.
it felt really good to be back to that. We missed that, miss seeing everybody at that. Back to just that
Jimmy,
normalcy.
and I want to ask you this, and we've interacted a lot. You've been there at the tailgate prior to, and I know you weren't there this Sunday, but prior ones. What's your favorite part of the tailgate?
Honestly, just catching up with people. I mean, there's so
Right.
many. I've talked about this before. And I mean, you do kind of see it with like the Phillies a little bit, and like I don't know, Twitter. I think Twitter has really kind of made a community in sports where people can kind of like come together and stuff. But I think you see that at those sporting events. Those are where those people kind of meet up, and not only that, people you've met at tailgates and stuff. So it's a lot of catching up. It's a lot of talking to other media people, content creators that are there to work and cover the team and the game. And it's a lot of just camaraderie and community, and I think that's like honestly my favorite part is I don't if any I'm always shocked that anyone pays attention to anything I have to say. But the amount of people that do and talk to me about it and are willing to have conversations with me about it is further and anything. It's much more than I could ever imagine. I'm sure you guys feel the same way, and it's great to just have that on a weekly or semi-weekly basis. And so yeah, I think that's probably my favorite part of those tailgates, to be honest.
No, I agree. I think also just like you said, talking to people that are in the media or that are content creators, just sharing ideas, thoughts, and honestly, just seeing people. I honestly just wander around and just like take in the atmosphere. I like doing
Mm-hmm.
that, taking clips,
Yeah.
and just looking around. I don't know. I find that just like this atmosphere was cool to see on Sunday, being a Sunday match.
It's nice it like being, a nice day out.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
We don't doesn't feel like we get many of those, but yeah, like for me it's crazy because there's been not many times, but I know like when it was the Charlotte home game and you were sick, Kyle, like, me actually going by myself without you, hang out at tailgate, but I know so many people. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's great how many people we've gotten to know from that. And also I think back to I think it was around this time last year, maybe because it came up on my like Facebook memories recently, but a whole bunch of us, Jimmy, you were there, got a picture of like all of us content creators,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
great picture.
and yeah, I love that picture. I think that's on our collage of union pictures. We have like kind of a photo collage of like every
Oh,
season
cute. I
lately.
love that.
This year's gonna be weird. It's gonna be like a lot of press pictures.
It's like it's like
Maybe one
it's
or
like
two of
baby's
us in the
first
way.
time in the press box,
Yeah,
right? I have
but
that.
no, in all honesty, so it was a good time. Got to see a lot of people we haven't seen in a while, but we went to the merch store. So Jimmy, I know you and I talked about it, so we're gonna do a quick merch review here. So
Yeah,
let's share the screen here.
yeah.
Jimmy, we're gonna get your thoughts on some of the stuff here as well. So
Cool.
yeah, there's some open practice photos.
Yeah. Oh, you should before we look at the merch, do you want to show the open practice pictures
I'll
really quick?
show some of them real
Because
quick.
because I had to
Sweet.
show this. So I was hanging out with Dave Leno there, okay? And some guys that were like on the end there, they're like, "Hey, commentator, can you come sign this?" And Dave's like, "Me? Really?" And like, "Sure." And so I made sure I got that. So, but yeah, Dave's a legend.
Dave is a great guy. If any
The
listeners
best. The
ever see
best.
him in the concourse or anywhere, stop him and say hello. He's a great guy. Super grateful to have conversations and talk about his work, and just awesome dude.
I can't say enough about him. I mean, he is
Mhm.
legit. I have seen him. We'll be sitting there walking, or we'll just be walking in. I'll be heading up. She'll be going to the river end, and we'll be talking with Dave, and like somebody will stop him and he makes time for him, and then
Yep.
goes back, continues the conversation. Somebody else stops him, makes time for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and Dave, I know you're listening. I mean, I think what you do, how you interact with the fans is, it's authentic. And that's what you want to see because, Jimmy, you and I have met some people in media and probably other walks of life, bands, music, art.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell who's authentic and who's, just putting on the performance, so to speak.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. And I think I'd be remiss not to mention that he's also like he's creating a lot of incredible moments with the calls that he has with,
Correct.
I mean, Gazda's, surpassing Latu this year as the all-time leading scorer. And I mean, the list goes on, he creates memories that fans will hold on to visually, with the sound for the rest of their life. And I think that's something that's really special. And Dave, if you do hear this, that's something you should be really proud of. I think it's really awesome.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. And I'll never forget, I was talking to Jeff Mitchell. I was like, who we're going to have on? Who we're going to have on? He goes, you want to have a real one on? He goes, get Dave Lennon. I'm like, nah,
yeah,
Dave's not going to come on. He goes, no, he will. And I'm like, are you serious?
One of my favorite
And then we reached out to him and bingo. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely one of my favorite guests on here for sure.
So anyway,
but yeah, go back to sharing that. So yeah. So yeah, we had some pictures from open practice there, like Kevin and Choo Choo, they were taking some corners and stuff. There's the presser,
and then
gym.
tailgate, and then the Union Tucson, which they decorated with
well, it looks like the pajamas that they put out for the kids.
Yeah, right.
So
Cute.
that was
I like
cool.
that.
Yeah, it was, and we got some merch here. So let's look at the merch.
So this
couple
is
newer
a regular t-shirt. We are Philadelphia.
Nice.
I mean, it's nice. It's a nice midnight blue shirt that says we're Philadelphia. There's nothing on the back. Jimmy, you want to guess the price on that?
Oh man, in today's day and age, is it a regular t-shirt or long sleeve?
Yeah, it's just a regular t-shirt. Nothing
Oh, gotta be at least $35-40.
$40.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this one, I love it.
We like this. It's a short
this.
sleeve hoodie.
Oh, yeah. Somebody get Nick Sirianni on the line. Like my dude's got to be supporting the Union, and he's always wearing those short sleeve hoodies. I feel like, yeah, somebody get him one of those.
I do not own any short sleeve hoodies, but I kind of
them.
I like that. I kind of feel like I need one.
I had one. I had one from my coaching college days when I'd always wear some train trips in Florida. It was so nice, and it's so light.
Yeah,
I do want to get that. I'm waiting for it to go on sale, but
yeah, or I always work those like Fanatics sales and stuff, like when it's like 25% off. That's how I got that concert t-shirt, and like I've gotten different.
It's Fanatic, so
all right. Really love this.
Yeah. This one, I mean, I think this is the one Jim wore at Red Bull, right?
Yes, they all wore these at Red Bull.
Yeah,
yes.
and
it's one of my favorites.
I wanted it right away. And now here's the thing: is I'd probably go about 20 minutes before I absolutely ruin the thing. So I can't spend the amount of money that they're probably asking for it. And
what was it? It's like 150 or something.
Yeah, sure. And one of our friends from 136, that's Steers, she had gotten it, and I was like, I felt the material and stuff, and it feels really nice. And trust me, I'm tempted, but I also got the light blue warm-up jackets that they have been wearing too, that they got this year. I bought one of those, and I got 50% off the Adidas outlet in Lancaster, by the way. Shout out to Conrad LeBlanc for telling me about that because he's from Lancaster too. But so I'm like, maybe it'll show up in the Adidas outlet on sale again. You never know.
Right.
So I might check that out. But anyway, I love it though. And yeah, like with lighter color stuff like that, I'm always afraid, I'm gonna get like dirty. Well, it's funny because a certain player, I noticed when we were interviewing him after the Red Bull game, had already like slapped something on it.
Certain player we've interviewed several times, and our close family members. Anyway, that's the only hint we're giving. But anyway, they got new beanies and hats out. They look okay.
That.
Yeah,
I like the beanie this year. And
me too.
So here's the kids' pajama pants for the Fearless.
Yeah, and some of the kids helped design it. Like I know Elliot Slocum was a part of
Yep.
that.
Oh,
They
wow.
actually helped to design that apparently. So, yeah, that I thought those were really
They
cute.
got the raccoon.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
didn't get a really good up close look at this, but now that I'm looking
Yeah.
at it, it's like, yeah,
I want the cattle on the drum. There's a
yeah,
cattle on the drum.
that.
Make
Yeah,
that
Oh
me
my
too.
gosh,
make that a t-shirt.
I love that.
Cat.
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah, there is
And I
some
love that
really
there's a
good stuff
raccoon
on
on there.
there.
There's just like random like pizza and stuff
Yeah.
and just dogs and stuff. Okay, cool. Like it's so random and I love it. That's such like it's oh yeah. Don't mind me on my crutches in the background here, but okay. So and if you're just listening on the pod, guys, this is navy blue shirt, Philadelphia Union with a logo like has the city skyline of Philadelphia and the snake on it. So what do you think of that one?
I love the design. It's kind of a retro design in a way. Jimmy, what do you
Yeah.
think of that?
Yeah, I love the use of the skyline, and I agree with you on the retro aspect. I think the lines going across the horizon
Yep.
kind of give
Yeah.
it that look, and yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I like that one too. I'd wear that one.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's been our merch review for this match day. So let's get into talking about great 3 points because going into this, I know Jimmy, you'd written about it. I'd written about it. Lots of us were talking about this was going to be kind of the big litmus test. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't think any of us listening thought that the Union were going to put 5 against NYCFC in that fashion. Having said that, you're like, okay, that's great, but now you're going against a team in DC that didn't have a midweek game, and so
And they have Benteke, who's been scoring a
yeah,
lot of goals.
which we'll get to about
You know?
the Union versus him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But first, I want to talk about the front three. Um, you know, the biggest thing I take away from this is you see guys dug now after on Sunday, 17 goals in leagues play.
Yeah.
Ua now has 10 goals in leagues play, 13 overall, and now has 5 goals in 7 games against DC.
He's
Which
got a lot of early goals
a lot of
too.
early goals, which
Mhm.
is going to get to your point
Yeah.
that Jim said to you. And then Bariba, which is a crazy stat, 16 goals in 18 games. I mean, Jimmy, I got to ask you, just from your thoughts, I mean, the front three attacking, we were talking about that off air. Where are you at with this? This all of a sudden just popping up. And I don't even know if it's popping up. We started seeing it in Leagues Cup a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of weird to say that I have more confidence in this particular front three, than I maybe ever have before. I think since Ty Baribo has been Ty Bariboing, that's kind
Yeah.
of been a
Mhm.
constant. Daniel Gazdag hasn't needed to score as much this season, it's felt like, because of Ty Baribo, but it still has an incredible record. But I think the question mark has always been how consistent can Michael Ua be in this team. He's shown flashes of being really strong in front of net. I think us three, and other people in the press box are in the same mindset that even when he's not on the score sheet, he does a lot of good on the field. And
Mhm.
I wrote an article that I put out today of Jim talking about that after the game on Sunday. And he does a lot to pull teams out of position. But besides that, he has scored in 4 straight games right now. And you guys talked about his goal record in the last couple of weeks overall. And
Mhm.
I think that's really brought this front three to a new level. And not only is he scoring goals like we saw on Sunday, where it's tap ins in front of the net, the ones that he should be scoring, but the other ones that he's scoring, the one against Red Bull and Miami and New York City, were all really good finishes, really confident finishes. And I think that's the difference right now, is we're seeing a confident Michael Ua going into a really, really pivotal stretch for the Union.
Yeah, that's just it. He's been playing so confidently. And that's like when I went to the presser on Saturday, I asked Jim about, you know, Mikel's been scoring and playing this confidently. What do you think what's been the change? How and Jim was like saying, you know, this team goes as the front three go, and Mikel is just he's playing so confidently right now, and it just keeps carrying over.
Yeah, it was interesting how he kind of praised that. He's like,
Yeah.
if you don't notice, Mikel scores early, it
Mhm.
gets him into the game, it gets him
Yep.
Mhm.
into flow. There was a play, and Jimmy, I know you were on the other side. You were kind of right in the middle. I was kind of right in the middle. We're kind of separated by like 3 people, but
Right.
you saw that play. I think it was early in the second half. They had a
Mhm.
fast DC had a fast break, and they were going down. And Mikel's tracking. I think he was probably he was sitting back, but he comes over, and I forget who it was. Maybe it was Klitsch. Breaks up a tackle that easily could have been a run on
Mhm.
1v1 Elliott versus Benteke. Breaks that up. I'm trying to remember it, but he had 2 really good defensive plays in the midfield in that second half where he just laid it out. And again, we see that from Bariba. We saw that from Julian Carranza, but see Mikel now having that confidence. And then, Dave Leno, and I know in our section, we were trying to figure out how many, what's Mikel's record. Like, I'm on FB Ref, I'm like looking at like his career
Mhm.
stats. That's the first time in his career he scored 4 consecutive games.
It is. Yep,
And,
it
and,
is.
and so that, he ties how many goals he's played, 13 goals across all competitions this year. He had 13 in 2022. But the thing that surprised me also is he's now tied with his career amount in assists. I
Mhm.
mean, that's also
Mhm.
a thing. So he's creating. So I think low key he's having a solid season. And
Mhm.
just saw some other people after this game. I get why he gets the hate. We all do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
People just look at the box go, oh, he's not scoring again. He's the highest paid player. He's having a good season.
He really
I
is.
Yeah, I think he is, and I think it's kind of strange. We didn't really know. I think if you asked us probably earlier this summer or even earlier in September, what Michael's future with the Union would be after this season, I think a lot of people would say that the Union may not take that option on him,
Mm.
and then we hear from Jim Curtin that the option has been triggered by performance or whatever whatever that may be, and then I think immediately that was right before Red Bull, and immediately he goes and scores 4 games in a row, and so I wonder if just having his future kind of locked in and figured out and not in the balance kind of settled him down a little bit and has made him just be able to focus on okay, I'm going to go out, I'm going to get involved early, and I don't have to worry about doing too much to impress, to prove myself to get a contract next year. It's done, I'm ready to go, just go out and play. And he's really he's in the most consistent form he's ever been in for the Union, so it's exactly what you want when you're fighting for a playoff spot.
So I'll say this. I don't disagree with you because I think during the summer, like what's going on, this is even prior to Julian. He had that really great start, and then he kind of cooled off, which all strikers do. Let's be honest. I mean, strikers go
It
through
happens.
spurts. I
Mhm.
Yeah.
mean, look at Sam Denham.
Yeah,
When's
yeah,
the last time? I
He
mean,
has yet
it
to
does
struggle.
does
right,
happen.
yeah.
Having said that, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like Ty and him work better than Julian. I know some people are gonna roast me for that,
Hmm.
but I feel like both of them, and you saw that with Ty's assist to Daniel too. He he's a bull in the china shop. We love Ty's goals, but he's also very heads up where
Mhm.
that goal you pretty I'm 9 times out of 10 Julian's shooting that shot.
Hmm.
Where he just dumps it off to Danny and Danny just lays it in the back of the net. I feel like those two maybe um just
They just
have
click
a
a little
little
better.
bit click a
Yeah.
little bit better, and that's crazy to say when we think about that front three in 2022.
Yeah.
What's
It
your
absolutely,
thoughts?
yeah, it absolutely is. But I think you're right. I think they have something like really incredible going for them right now. And I mean, Tiber Rebo hasn't played. He didn't play half the season.
Yeah.
The
Right.
first half of the
Yeah.
season, and that front three is tied, or I think they have the fourth most goals as a trio in MLS. That
Mhm.
is incredible when one of those
Mhm.
people hasn't been playing in the league for half the season. I mean, that is like it's really mind blowing to me where they could be if he, had a full preseason, healthy, and came out of the gate swinging to start this year. So yeah, they really do have something strong going right now.
They
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And sorry to interrupt, but let's talk about Ty. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing, like Ty was brought in to be, presumably the replacement for Julian. This is what he was supposed to do. And
Mhm.
and finally, it's happened and he's clicking so well with him. I mean, you look at that goal that Mikel had, and at the last game against DC, it was like clinical. It was
Well, even
so
the
on
game
point.
against NYCFC where
That
Ty
too.
dumps it off to
Yeah.
Mikkel sitting wide open and just buries it.
Yeah,
Yep,
and
one
and
touch.
and not
Yeah.
only that, but like Gazdag has not been a pen merchant this year. I
Exactly.
mean, when's the last time he had a penalty? Like a PK?
Yeah.
Like I know he had the 2 against Orlando, the one that he missed. Like I can't think of like anything since then. It's been a little while. So I mean, honestly, it makes you wish that this could have been happening the whole season, obviously, but it is what it is. And you know, it's so great to see Ty have these moments that you're really hoping for him.
Yeah.
What's funny, Jillian, is that they kind of have still been scoring the rest of the season, not as high as the
Mhm.
clip for sure.
Yeah.
They definitely were struggling to put multiple. I think the issue is a lot of times they were getting that early goal, but then not adding on to it and keep
Right.
letting teams stay in games.
Right.
But if you look at like the stats overall this season, the issue hasn't really been their goal scoring. They are one of the better teams at creating chances and even finishing them. But man, the defense the first half of the year was not great, and I'm sure we're going to get to
No.
it. But a lot of that you have to put that down to Andre Blake not being in the lineup when you look at just the eye test and statistics.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, huge difference. Huge.
Yeah, no, and Jimmy, that's a perfect segue into this. So let's talk about. I'm gonna combine both Andre and the defense here. I know I had them as separate topics, but I want to play Jim's clip because now it's 2 shots in a row. Andrew Rick had his shutout.
Who saw that coming? That
No one.
incredible
No one.
job by
So
him.
I do want to. If you go on our website and on YouTube, I do play the full interview I had with Andrew on Friday, asking about the ESPN clip. He kind of, I was like, tell me about like, was it slow motion? He kind of chuckled, like seeing that ball, he just knocks it, and how that was. And it was really kind of cool him walking me through that. But I asked Jim after the game, and shout out to Todd because him and I were talking, and he's like, hey, this is a good question. So we kind of wrote something up, and I decided I wanted to know because Benteke was basically neutralized except for that 1 second half shot that Blake makes a great save on. He turns Jacob around. Olivier's kind of a touch too slow. But let me play that clip real quick here because his response kind of shocked me. And Jimmy, I want to hear your thoughts on it as well. So we'll go down here and play this. Here we go. Once it loads.
Yeah, we gave up too many chances. I thought the first half and even the second half too, our marking in the box was a little bit loose. And on a night where if the opponent was a little sharper and cleaner, they could have scored some goals tonight. So I don't like tonight from the standpoint that it could have been, we probably could have scored 8 goals. They probably could have scored 3 or 4. So I don't like that, so it was a little too wide open. So we certainly have things to tighten up because if that's Cucho, on the end of those, or that's some other guys, they're in the back of the net, and that's the difference. So we scored our chances tonight. They didn't. I don't think we played a perfect game, but there's certainly things to clean up. Certainly on the defensive side, marking in the box, there was too many shots from too many shots in general. They missed the target a lot, so we were a little bit lucky. We did do a good job blocking some things for sure and protecting Andre as best we could. He still had to make too many saves, I thought. So a lot to still work on.
All right, Jimmy. So what are your thoughts on that? Comments from Jim there.
Honestly, I thought that listening to that, I thought that was him from New York City, where there was like a ton of chances. I mean, to be fair, DC did have like 16 shots.
16 shots.
But an XG of 0.86.
Right.
They did have a couple of chances. They did have that one where it kind of like deflected off someone and hit the post, I think. But I want to bring up something, and maybe you guys were going to bring this up, but I looked this up because I was really interested. Christian Benteke, I'm sure everyone knows, like leads the league in headers by like a crazy amount. I looked it up. He has 272 aerial duels won for the season. The next closest player in MLS is Lucas Bartlett, also from DC United, with 100. So Christian Benteke has more he leads by more than the second highest person in MLS. He averages just about 11 headers per game, and Union kept him to 4 aerial duels won. I think that was like a really big key. And I don't know. I wish I would have kind of paid attention to that more on Sunday. I wasn't really kind of looking at that, but I thought that was something that Union did really good to neutralize that.
Yeah, that was something I definitely, from my vantage point, I was watching because I'm there with the people I know in 136, and I'm like, ooh, watch Benteke, watch Benteke. And like, they really did a good job of neutralizing him.
Yeah, they did. And I thought they were really marking him well. I think the plan was, and my thought is they weren't going to let Benteke beat them because he's been their offense.
Yeah, because what do they really have offensively besides Benteke?
Well, not much.
Exactly.
And so, and Jimmy, you probably saw this too. Anytime Benteke got a touch on the box, they flocked, and that's why they then kicked it back out. There was like that shot. There was that chance by Klitsch. There was a couple other shots, but they were forcing DC outside the box to take their chances. And then when that happened, they were deflecting. I mean, I turned to Jose, and Jose we were chatting. We're like, I don't know how you felt, but sitting up there at press box, I'm like, they're gonna get a goal because DC was creating. They were creating, but every time they were, the Union were staying calm position, right? Maybe they got beat, but somebody would slide in, protect, and then Andre would bail them out.
He did make some really. He had like that one like really good save.
He did.
But
yeah, I agree. I think it's actually funny that you say that because I agree with you. I think there was a moment in time, and I even tweeted out. I literally said the one thing Union can't do is let DC get back in the game with a Christian Benteke header. And literally, as soon as I hit sent, Daniel Gazdag scored the third goal and kind of put the game to bed. But I bring that up for the fact that I agree with you. There was a moment where it looked like DC could sneak their way back into the game, and with the way that the rest of the season has gone, like that's kind of the worst nightmare starting, right? Like
it really was.
Yeah.
We've seen that too much this year.
Yeah.
Which then brings me to my point about Andre Blake. I mean, again, Jim says in the presser, you were there, that, maybe they let Andre kick the ball a little too much, and maybe he had to do a little too much work. But we've seen this when he is healthy, and I think it was Todd that brought up a stat. He's missed over 50% of the games this year because of injury.
Yeah.
And when we look at the Union, they're sitting at 36 points. When you and I have talked to multiple people in the press box, we know how many points if Andre Blake. I think I've kind of done some of the math. The Chicago game. And you probably could rattle off about 5 or 6 other games, maybe Montreal to get a point, where the Union easily could be in like comfortably sitting, and we're all sitting here going, all right, we're talking about the playoff picture rather than how are they going to get into playoffs. And Jim said they dug themselves too big of a hole early in the season.
Yeah.
But this stretch, when Andre has been healthy this year, how much, in your opinion, does it solidify not only from his legacy for the Union, but also how awesome he is with controlling the defense? Now, of course, they've had some clunkers when he's been in net, for sure. And that's understandable. Nobody's perfect. But in your mind, his control of the defense, and then also just where do you see how vital is he for the Union's success?
I mean, he's huge. If you think about him from a leadership perspective, he is. I would consider him part of like. I don't know that Union necessarily have an official leadership group, right? But Ale, Andre, Glesnes, those are kind of the guys that seem to get the armband if one or the other are kind of hurt. So I kind of consider them our leadership group. Maybe add a few people here or there. But I think you miss a huge aspect to what solidifies your defense when you miss Andre Blake kind of controlling things from the back and shouting things out. And just to kind of like bring up a couple stats or one stat here. Andrew Rick in 12 games, in Andrew Rick in 450 minutes this season, 12 goals against, 62% save percentage. Semla, 28 goals given up in 1,400 minutes, 65% save percentage. And Andre Blake has only given up 6 goals in 750 minutes and has a save percentage of 80%.
Which is right up there with one of his career highs.
Right. And
I
so
think what was that? 2022 was like 80, 81 or something
Yeah.
like that. It was like ridiculous.
2022 was ridiculous.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that's yeah.
And
But
so
it's up there.
but in order to have that, right, like the guy has to make some good saves, but it also comes down to the quality of shots that your opponents are taking as well, right?
Correct.
If your opponents are taking shots from outside the box with their weak foot through traffic and Andre Blake catches it in his gut, that's a lot easier of a save than someone that's shooting from inside the box with the defense sprinting back, trying to frantically get back on a breakaway. So I think with that save percentage, it comes and shows that the defense really just does feel a lot more comfortable with him behind them, knowing that he can kind of bail them out a little bit, but also him directing traffic a little bit. I think you can see there's a little bit more fluidity when he's back there.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, like, when I'm in 136, I can really see, like, and hear what he's doing there, which is really cool. That's one reason I like that vantage point. And it's a huge difference. And I think that, I mean, just it raises the level of Blessness and Elliot and everyone back there when Andre's there. They really struggled actually, when Zemla and Rick were in the goal a lot of time. I mean, Rick, I think, started to find himself for sure. And that game against NYC was huge. But, there's nothing like what Andre does there. It just comes with the experience. But you know, just the positioning and what he's yelling to them, it makes a huge, huge difference.
Well, and it's interesting to say it because if you watch that game against NYCFC, Rick was barking orders a little
He
bit more.
was.
And I talked to when I talked to Andrew, I asked him what's he kind of learned, and he said things he's learned from Phil, and we all know how great of a goalkeeper coach Phil Wetton is. He also said, Andre, the biggest thing that he's learned is how to make himself bigger. And also how to take charge of the defense. Whether you're right or wrong, sometimes you're going to make mistakes in positioning. But take charge. We saw that with Matt Freese. Now, Matt Freese didn't have the greatest game. I'll tip his cap. We've seen better from him as well. But I think the biggest thing I noticed from him was he was taking charge, and he was at times making himself bigger. So he's learning from Andre. He's learned from Phil. I mean, that's only a recipe for success to maximize the kid's potential.
Yeah, and the Andrew Rick of the NYCFC game was not the Andrew Rick we saw up in Montreal.
No,
that was a young Andrew
That
Rick.
was a young, inexperienced Andrew Rick, first game on the road, I think.
But then didn't Andrew Rick start against NYCFC too?
Now, Andrew Rick gave up 3 goals against NYCFC too, like on Sunday.
And that
Monday,
goes back to, I mean, the kid's young. He's gonna have those clunkers. Andre had those clunkers early on. I mean, right now, just as he continues to develop, and I think, and I've said this to other people said this, I think that's why him going on loan to like a USL championship, maybe get another veteran goalkeeper. Many of us on these platforms have said this, and then, continue to develop Zemla. Hey, because if he goes to Europe, he's probably not coming back.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people said. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's go. Let's finally cap this up with talking about Quinn Sullivan. Ends up with Danny on team of the match day. Danny was on the bench. He was
let's talk about Danny had a brace and he was only on the bench.
well,
Messi breathes on the field and ends up like on, like player of the week.
My number 2 vote on the NASR too. I was like, I put him second. Like, he was my second runner up, and I'm like, he's on the bench. Okay, but anyway,
my goodness.
No.
Anyway.
Quinn Sullivan, 2 assists on the night. Beautiful layup. My favorite was probably the one to Ty, where he cuts it in,
chef's kiss on that,
and then Ty heads it in. And I think Jonathan Tamwell tweeted this out. Only 5 players in MLS history have 10 assists. Now I know it's the hockey assists.
Yeah.
Say what you want about that. Under the age of 21. that's incredible. And as much as we've criticized Quinn for doing too much around, he likes to play with the ball in opportunity create space. I thought on the night, and Jimmy, what do you think? I thought he was excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I'm not misremembering this, but I believe it's also the first Union homegrown to get 10 assists.
I
Maybe
think he,
not. Yeah, I can't remember if maybe it was the first or the second. Maybe I'm not sure, but in any regard, a really great feat for someone so young, and I think that if you've watched Quinn this season, the ability to beat his man and get into dangerous positions has been there all season long. It's never been about that specifically. It's been the end product for him.
Mhm.
He has consistently gotten into really dangerous positions for the Union. But the final ball just hasn't been there, whether it's trying to score or trying to find that final pass. But on Sunday, he was just cooking down that right side, absolutely cooking. And every time he got the ball, it looked like he was going to take it, you know, to a dangerous position. And luckily and thankfully, that final ball was there for him on Sunday. So it's really great to see.
Yeah, that was the thing that was missing because he'd get down there and then he'd lose the ball or,
Mhm.
whatever. He'd just like have too many touches on it down there or whatever. And man, he was on the money that night and making the crosses and connecting and really well deserved team of the match day for him.
for sure. And I even asked him afterwards. Him and Nate were really attacking that right side like hard, and they were attacking Santos like all night. And I said, "Is there anything you saw on film?" And he's like, "No, we just kind of got in the flow of the game. We started trusting each other, and we saw there was an opportunity to attack that side." Jim mentioned about them being without their center back, and long story short, they just saw the opportunity as the game progressed. They could really expose that side of the field, and the Union did. So
Yeah, and speaking of Nate Harriel, he like played every position on defense pretty much in the last like week.
he had a sneaky good game. He had a
He did.
couple things. I mean, did he stand out? No, but then you go on and look at like Foot Mob and Surface Score, like, which I always don't trust those ratings. Let's be honest, ratings are
Fair.
objective sometimes. You know what I'm saying, Jimmy? Like sometimes you see his ratings, you're like, really, is that? But
Yeah.
like, but when you look at the inside, I mean, he had some kind of like Leon had against NYCFC. It was a quiet, solid game. He didn't do a ton, but he played a solid game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I thought there was very few people on or very few players on the team on Sunday that I thought didn't put in a good solid shift. And Leon's included in that. I thought at times I think I could Jack maybe could have created a little bit more, but I think everyone for the most part put in a really really solid shift on Sunday. And just kind of more on Quinn Sullivan, I think, uh, you know, I think a big thing that I've really enjoyed and I'm really glad that I've seen is I have to imagine it's kind of been difficult for an older brother to kind of see everything going on,
Mm-hmm.
just with how much attention his brother's getting, and I don't mean that in like a jealous way or
No,
anything. I think it's probably just difficult to see that and stay motivated and stay wanting to make your own name. And I think he's done a really good job over the last couple of weeks of just putting his head down and the whole season playing in whatever position Jim puts him in. And he has become a really really good team player for the Union.
he really has, and I think he's proud of his brother. I'm sure there's some sibling rivalry. Of course, there
Oh,
is
of
Of
that.
course.
course. I have
Of
three
course.
siblings. I know how that
Yeah,
goes.
of course, but I
Yeah.
do generally think deep down inside he's really proud of Kevin. He's dropped it off to him.
Yeah.
Have that. What was it?
I think
Was
he
it
likes being on the
Jose?
field with
Was
him.
it
Yeah.
Jose that said the D Wade
Yeah. Yep.
LeBron?
Yeah.
Like that's fun stuff. Like,
Yeah.
but that's where he showed like he's proud of Kevin, and
Yeah.
Totally.
so, but also being the competitor that you are and that he is, I'm sure it creeps in your mind.
Yeah.
I would expect it, but
It was nice to see Kevin get a chance to come on too, of course. It's funny because I was saying to my friends, I was like, all right, Union, score a 4th goal, and you probably get to see Kevin come on.
And
You know,
they
give the
did.
people what they want, and then it happened. Then he came
And
on.
we all
but-
did. We're like, I'm like down typing something, and I think it was, I forget who it was, like says to me, he goes, "Oh, they're gonna give the people what they want to see Kevin running." I'm like,
I mean,
okay.
hey, give the
Yeah.
fans what they want.
And
But
they're like chanting, "It's a school
hey,
night."
yeah, that was great. It's a school night. But yeah, and Kevin, hey, he got a shot off. So
I mean, if
there you
that
go.
thing would have gone in, that place would have gone.
And
But
also
Oh,
in the
man.
NYC game, he also like had that little bit of a breakaway, and then he got
Yeah.
fouled. Who knows what he would have done there? But
So
that
I
was
mean,
fun.
it's coming. That goal's gonna come, and when it happens, if it happens at Subaru Park,
Oh, they're
it's
gonna
gonna go
blow up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was good to see him come in there. So
So yeah, I mean, end of the night, Union to get 3 valuable points,
Yeah.
and they move on to the next one. So let's talk about Union 2.
yeah, so Union 2, weird time, a Monday at 4 p.m.
So
We were not
strange.
able to attend because of, work and everything, but I watched the whole thing, and they go out and have this beautiful goal, like this beautiful build up to a goal, where it was Cavan to CJ only, and then cross over to Marcus Anderson, and Marcus Anderson blasts that home. And it's like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
but then what do? They give up 3 goals to
Mm.
NYC, and one of them was pretty poor too.
Yeah,
It
that
was
one.
like just kind of like a slow motion kind of thing, it felt like, and it went in. It's like, oh man, they're down, 3-1 all of a sudden, right? And I said, when we talked to Marlon LeBlanc after a game, over the summer, I think it was, I forget which game it was, but and it was one that they ended up winning, but he said that, he said some bad words at halftime.
Hey, yeah, you tweeted out. I wonder what words he's saying at halftime.
I was like, man, I wonder what bad words he's probably saying at halftime now. Well, whatever he said, I mean, they came out strong in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie gets a goal.
Yeah.
Who
Oh, well, Eddie had a goal, which was great. I think that was his 13th on the
that was
season.
13th on the season.
Eddie's having a great season, and considering he missed a couple of matches because he was away, he was out at Lingby, and then there's the dangerous free kick that came up too. Then, and I'm forgetting one
There was
because they won 4-3.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Nick Periano had a
Yeah,
PK.
yeah,
That
right.
was the first one that happened, and then the Eddie
Yeah,
goal, and then
the one that made the rounds, I don't know, Jimmy, you saw it where like it was David Vasquez and Kevin were like talking. Vasquez
Yeah.
went
gonna
there,
take the
and
free
all
kick.
the
It was-
USMST people are like making a big deal about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
No.
dude, it's just like Kevin's being
Dude.
confident, like I'm taking it, and
Yeah,
David's
he's like,
like, I want to take it.
And we know
And
David's very good at that
and
too.
he's very
oh my
good
gosh,
at
yeah.
that, and he's also very competitive too. It's just, I love how people are making drama out of
Like,
that, and it's
course
like
they are.
there's nothing there. Like,
No, there's not.
I've
It's-
seen them like
No.
dabbing it up in practice, like,
Yeah.
on Friday. It's like there's nothing there, guys.
Yeah.
No, there's
No,
no,
no.
It's
there's
just
nothing there.
gamesmanship,
Yeah.
Teammates being
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, and you want players on your team that are going to argue over those types of things. You want
Exactly.
guys to go, no, I want this opportunity to change the game. So,
Right. We saw
I think-
Julian and was it Julian and Gazdag like
Gazdag,
doing that
yep.
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
we've saw Jack and Kai do that many a times on who's taking the free kick. It's
Yeah,
like
it is
it
they want
is what it is.
But long story short, Cavan lays out a great ball that Frankie Westfield heads home,
Right.
and that ends up being the game winner.
And,
That was
and
huge.
now they clinch the playoffs.
Yeah.
Looking like they're gonna maybe possibly get a home draw. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, this team's fun to watch. I know during the doldrums of summer when the Union were going through it all, this was a bright spot for a lot of Union fans.
It really was. It really helped us
was.
get through
So
it.
credit to Marlon. Credit to all the players, and even Marlon said, Jose Rasco was back when I talked to
Yeah,
him.
he was offside like a million times, it felt like, but he was
he's
back and
still
he got game time.
preseason, and he looks like
Yeah.
a totally different player.
Yeah,
than
sure.
we saw him last year. So
Yeah, and they have a home game on Sunday, so hopefully there will be a good turnout. They're playing, we've got the back-to-back games there, so
yeah,
we'll be
so
there.
We'll be
Excited.
there.
And I wanted to point out while we're on the topic of U2,
Yeah.
Frankie Westfield,
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
left back I think he plays right back at times for Union 2.
Play center
Um,
back.
He can do it all.
Yeah, he's another
his
one. Nate Harrell. Sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
what I believe to be his agent at CAA tweeted out that that was his 7th goal of the season from a left back, which is I have to look that up to see if that's real, but even if that's even half true, that's quite an incredible offensive production from your left back. And it sounds like, there's not really anyone sitting behind Kai right now. And that spot's looking more and more tasty for Frankie Westfield to step into eventually.
You're not wrong. I mean, I'm not saying that. I still think it's gonna be, what's that guy's name? Isaiah LaFleur. I think he was.
Oh, yeah.
Isaiah
Yeah.
LaFleur. And I'd asked him about Isaiah, like, I don't know, a few weeks back, maybe a month back.
So
he's doing
Frankie
better.
this year, I'm just pulled it up right now, Jimmy. 6 goals, 6 assists.
Okay.
Again, 6 goals, 6 assists, 2,133 minutes played. Passing percentage is 71.8. 11 shots. Is shooting 33% on target when he takes a shot. That's pretty impressive.
Not bad.
No, I mean he's good. I mean,
Yeah, we've been real high on him this season. I
Yeah.
think it's been fun to watch his progression. And I know we had gotten the like a post game kind of presser for Marlon. They didn't put that out there
they
like in
did.
public, but it was sent to us the media, and Marlon had some really great things to say about Frankie. How everyone's like, everyone's, talking about Kevin and what Kevin's done is great, but he's super proud of what Frankie has done. I posted it on Twitter, the clip, but he's had a really, really good season.
And the
Mhm.
other cool thing is, like, when I saw him Friday, just got to chat with him a little bit there. He's a good dude. I mean, the
He was
kid,
a fun guest on our show.
he's
for
the
sure.
kind of guy you just want to root for.
Yeah.
Like, is he an MLS player? Time will tell. But you root
Right.
for the kid. He's the kind of guy you like. I don't know if he is, but I hope he does. I hope he
Right.
sticks. You
Totally.
want to root for him.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about a lot, all these YouTube guys, like
Yeah.
Eddie Davis, super fun guest on our show too. Great kid, Neil Pierre, like a bunch of these guys, it's really, that's why I love covering you too, because it's really neat to see them progress. And,
Yeah.
Marlon's all about the development, I mean, they're winning too, which is great. You've got both those things going on.
Yeah, and I think it's been really cool to see them kind of like take the Bridge Brigade, like,
Yeah.
not under their arm. That's not the right way to say it, but like they embrace it
Yes.
fully, and they've even gone to the point of being coaches for a couple of their Icarus Cup teams, a
Yep.
couple of the Bridge
That was
Brigade
cool.
members.
Yeah.
And stuff like that is like that's so cool.
I love
dude.
it.
Yeah, so if you've never been to a Union 2 game, make sure you do. I think it's probably one of the closest things we have here in Philadelphia to like grassroots soccer that you see overseas. It's really quite fun, and there's, I mean, as you know, there's some really interesting and exciting players coming up through that pipeline. So definitely get out and check it out.
Yeah, for sure. So let's turn our attention now to Saturday. Another big showdown. Union can do themselves a big boost by, getting another 3 points. Jimmy, Atlanta's coming to town. Just a couple quick stats on my end. They've given up the second fewest road goals at 20, believe it or not.
Wow.
If you go on, according to FB Ref, and FB Ref's not always right because they kind of mess some things up, but they were second to the bottom. I mean, fewest goals. I forget who it was when I was throwing the data together. But I mean, they also shoot a lot from outside the box. And if you do that, they're going to drop it into like a guy like Rios, who can just sit there and like get a 1v1. We all know about him. He's a guy who cooked the Union for 4 goals. So, and then didn't score the rest of the year. So, I mean, they're not the team that's going to score a lot of goals. They've kind of, since they made the coaching change, been a little bit more. I mean, obviously their big Serie A midseason acquisition, has done some nice things, made some highlights, but At the same time, I feel like a confident Union team can really exploit them as well. How are you feeling about this?
Yeah, I think when you kind of look at where Atlanta is and where they were earlier this season, you know, they've lost their two best players.
Right.
And when you look at kind of their offensive production, they've got Saba Labajanitse, I hope
Yep.
that's right, with 7 goals, and then Daniel Rios, who has 6 goals, and you know, he scored 5 goals against the Union in his last 2 games against them. So that's always a threat. That always feels like a just like, you know, one of those things that could always come. It's very Union for him to come
Yeah.
and score, but outside of that, I think, you know, this team's very beatable. You should beat this team. My worry is it seems like Atlanta has the ability to stay in games and kind of get those like and I don't want to say cheap goals, but goals from set pieces and goals from balls bouncing around the box. And Brooks Lennon on the right side is always really, really dangerous. He leads the team in like assists and chances and big chances created and all those sorts of things. So will be a really interesting matchup to see him and Kai Wagner on the same side.
Right.
And see how, you know, those two both kind of getting up the pitch and you know, if either team can exploit space behind them when that happens. But I think at home you have to expect this Union team to win, especially coming off 2 really big performances against New York and DC. I think you got to get 3 points in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with the momentum they've had, they need to keep that rolling. You know, will Ty and Mikkel have those goals again like they've been doing? They've been hot on that. But here's and they also Brad Gazan.
I could throw out McAllister against
Okay.
Atlanta, but I'm not going to because I don't want to
Yeah,
jinx it.
don't jinx it.
I
You've
don't
done
wanna
that
jinx it.
enough.
I
You've done
don't
that
wanna
enough.
jinx it.
But no, like Brad Guzan actually just had a really good game. He was
Yeah,
on
He
team of the
did.
match day.
Yep.
And Brad Guzan is, well, he's like my age, okay? And when people say, "Oh, he is old as, you know what?" I'm like, or when they call Ally old, I'm like, that makes
Excuse
me
me.
feel, yeah, 'cause I take offense to that. But no, for what it's, I mean, but I've also seen Brad Guzan like fall on his back like a turtle, you know, and and like just get killed.
No,
You see that visual though? Like
you're
seriously.
you are so right, Jillian. Like if you're asking me who the top 5 or 10 goalkeepers in MLS are, I'm probably not putting Brad Goose. Like he's probably not one of the ones that pops up in my head right off the bat. But at the same time, the dude comes up in big moments for Atlanta all the time. And I think
Oh, he
he had,
does.
yeah, and I think he had a PK save
He did.
against who was it? Red
Oh,
Bull. Red
Yeah.
Bull on,
yeah.
yeah, and that would have been really big in the standings for Union for Red Bull to get 3 points there. So yeah, I don't know. I hope that we see the trend continue of Union scoring first, getting that early goal, putting doubt in the opposition's head, and just after that, just keep pounding them, getting that second goal, and just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've made good goalkeepers look like chumps too. Like,
Hmm.
we love Matt Friesa, but you know,
Yeah,
he had a rough day.
yeah,
You know, and he'd been having a really good season.
he has.
So hey, you know, any given day,
All right.
they got to bring it, and you know, if they can get an early goal and set the tone, I think that will go a long way.
No, it will, and I think for me, honestly, I think you see the body language on the team, Jimmy. You've been in there in the locker room. I think even the Miami game, and Jim keeps bringing this up.
Yeah, he
I
does.
mean, they look good. I mean, you
Mhm.
really you put Andre Blake back there, you might get a point. You might have gotten a point out of there. You might even, if they would have finished those 2 chances, you might have walked
Exactly.
away in Miami with points. So this is a confident team. Be it, you know, you still got to get the points, but I think the Union are up for the challenge right now, and I think if you're a fan listening, you really need to get this game because if the Union can pack this, I mean, I think it's gonna be a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's gonna be a tough one, and then after that, the party really starts because then you got Orlando,
Yeah,
then you got Columbus, and then you got Cincinnati, who's the best road team in MLS. So
now
buckle up.
I didn't get to look into this at all, so this is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a pure assumption. So if this is wrong,
Is this the road? Is this road records?
no. What I was going to bring up is I saw the team post out like if tickets to this weekend,
Oh, okay,
SeatGeek.
yeah. Go
And
ahead.
to me, that I think that means that the official tickets from the team are sold out and the only
Right.
seats left are resale. So should be a good crowd on hand, which goes a long way for this team. And I think getting that win, that big 4-0 win, clean sheet, lots of goals at home, kind of gets the team or the fans off the team's back a little bit. And I don't necessarily know that they really were pressuring them that much, but I think, Jim has talked about it. They, for whatever reason, have just not been super comfortable and super dynamic at home this season and been able to finish it out. So I think that 4-0 win goes a long way in this team feeling like they're back in their fortress at Subaru Park on Saturday night.
For sure, and I know I'm going to be looking at. And I think Jimmy, you were going to bring up some of the other people in playoff contention.
Mm.
I'm going to write an article or at least throw out a tweet with some of the other people coming up later this week. I got some data on this, but I mean, Union control their destiny. They keep winning. They've been good on the road. Maybe you get a point in Orlando or 2 points overall. I mean, that's a success, and then you don't even have to worry about decision day. But even if they only get a point on Sunday, they could probably go to Orlando or somewhere else and make up a point.
Mm-hmm.
I still think if they get 3 points this weekend, you gotta feel really confident. Even if it doesn't shake out, they're gonna feel really confident.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jillian.
Oh no, saying like, I mean, there's no reason for them not to have a great crowd this weekend. They're coming off that big
Yeah.
win. It's a Saturday evening, and it's not gonna be like freezing cold. And hey, you got Hispanic Heritage Night.
Nice.
Empanadas on empanadas. I can't
I was
wait.
gonna
I
say,
cannot
yeah.
wait for the empanadas.
Yeah.
So
The food truck and the dog event. They're gonna have a dog event.
So you want to
Dog
talk about
adoption
that real
event.
quick? What
Yeah.
else going on?
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real
Finish
quick,
that
while
thought.
we're kind of on like the playoff picture and the table and stuff.
Yeah.
You look at the table, it's so muddled right now. It's like
Yeah, it is.
right.
Union are in 9th place, 36 points, right? 4 games to go. I could realistically see them jumping. I mean, Orlando only has 43 points and they're in 5th place. I feel like that's a stretch, but Charlotte and New York City being in 6th and 7th with 41 points. I feel like 4 points, Union can get that.
Right,
But at the same point,
go ahead.
at the same point, DC is in 13th place with 33 points, just 3 points behind the Union.
Right.
And there's a lot of games to go between all these teams that are in this jumbled mess. So by decision day, the playoff picture could look so much different than how we're looking at it right now. It's honestly quite incredible what we're going to see in the last couple weeks.
It really is. It's going to be an exciting finish this season. Jillian, Hispanic Heritage Night on Saturday.
Yeah, so this is always a fun one. They're gonna wear the Hispanic Heritage pre-match tops, which really nice. We had neon day at school today. I wore mine at school today. Always a good excuse to wear a Union top at school for dress down. So, but yeah, they're gonna have that. They're going to have things on the plaza. They're gonna have food trucks and from some local Philly restaurants with. They're gonna have Colombian and Venezuelan and Argentinian food, I believe. And what I remember from that before, like they had so many different kinds of empanadas, and it was amazing because I love empanadas. And
so you'll see Jillian out the plaza prior to kickoff eating empanadas.
I will actually buy food at besides the tailgate. I'll have to save some room for that. And they're also, I saw they're doing not just the regular couple dogs they have there. They're doing a big 40 or so dogs up for adoption. They're doing one of those big dog adoption events.
So we'll be over there.
Yeah, so we always got to check out the dogs. We always check them out. Always very tempted. My cat's walking over to me right now he's sniffing me right now hey, yeah, don't bring him any dogs. But no.
Not huskies.
Oh, there's so many great dogs though, and it's always nice seeing them, and I love what they do to promote
Yeah.
Pets, because all of our cats are rescues, and
Mhm.
we always had rescue dogs growing up too. So I love what they do with that. So they got that going on too. You got the Sons of Ben tailgate. You'll have the stuff at Union Yards, so much stuff going on. And I know there were some other things that they said were going to they're happening in the stadium during
Yep.
the evening too. So I know they put out a press release about that. Well, like it was on their website, and on their socials.
So, all right, before we get out of here, so yeah, we'll see y'all on Saturday for making the trip. Jimmy, you're gonna be down there on Saturday?
I actually will not be there this weekend. I'm heading out to California. I'm
Ooh.
going to see Green Day out in San Diego with my
Ooh.
aunt
Nice.
that I used to live with.
Nice.
So sad I won't be out there at Subaru Park for a big game, but it'll be for a really cool occasion, and I'm happy about it. But I will be tuning in hopefully and watching the game. So I will have some coverage of it if you guys listening are interested in that kind of stuff. But I'm assuming you guys will be down there, yeah?
Yeah, we'll be down there covering it, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah, we'll be
plan
there
I
both
plan
Saturday
on
and
being in
Sunday.
the press box, so we'll see. But anyway, where can people find you at?
Uh, mostly, most of my coverage comes at Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it now. I kind of refuse to call it X. It just
Same.
feels wrong. Yeah.
Same.
I won't bow down to Elon. But my handle is Jimmy King 35. Do a lot of stuff there, and then I'm pumping out articles this year over at Philly Sports Network. Just trying to put out as much as I can, and not only me, there's a couple other writers that are doing some really good work over the last couple weeks as well, and putting out a lot of coverage covering a lot of different angles about the union and MLS as a whole. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, head over to Philly Sports Network as well as all the other Philly sports teams. We got so many good writers over at Philly Sports Network. But yeah, that's where you can mostly find me.
Yeah, definitely check out Jimmy and his crew's work. I mean,
Doing
doing
great
great
stuff.
stuff over there. So yeah, check them out if you're listening and you haven't gone and checked them out. So, and make sure to check out Jillian's article on the Kick Childhood Cancer Day.
Yeah, I mean, it was such an awesome event. They had for the kids bang the drum at the beginning,
Mhm.
including Elliot Slocum. We love the
Oh,
Slocums. Great family and an inspiring story with them for sure. I talked about them in the article, and it was also really cool that I want to mention that Kai and Leon and Oliver with their Train Like a Pro camp, they um, donated $4,100 to Kisses for Kyle Foundation.
Which is awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, so really
Yeah.
awesome. I know they were at they had a little event on Friday night at Union Yards for the Fearless 43. So I talk all about that in the article. But definitely, anyone listening, yeah, if you check out my article, awesome. I appreciate it. But most importantly, I want to spread the awareness for those causes.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
And
So
shout out to the Slocums as well. Incredible family. They used to sit in the section I sat in before I was in the press box, and we would see them all the time. Incredible family, and it was great. It was so cool to see Elliot out there on Sunday. That was really awesome. So
that
yeah,
was.
really great stuff.
So that's all for this episode of the One Team We Agree On.
Yeah, make sure to subscribe and like and leave us comments because we love hearing from you. And if you have any ideas for us, let us know.
All right. And until next time, I'm Kyle.
I'm Jillian.
And we'll see you at the game.